listening to I'm Telling You. You're listening to I'm Telling You.
Yay, fam. Welcome back to yet another episode of I'm Telling You.
I'm telling you.
As always, antics are ensuing instantly. I'm Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Clickety clacker fact checker, Miss JD.
Yeah, and as always, we like to start off the program by saying, hey, please reach out to us. We want to get those conversations, you know what I mean? Like, just give us movie quotes, start a conversation, tell us we're awesome, tell us we suck. We don't really care. Just literally talk to us. But you can hit up all three of us at ity@directionsandmusic.org, or individually, you can get Gemini,
GEMINI at directionsandmusic.org.
You bleep, lore, bleep, or you can hit up Philly D at PHILLYD at directionsandmusic.org. But yeah, first time listeners, this is a 30-year friendship between me and Gemini with our fact checker, Miss JD. Now we do movie quotes, dad jokes. We talk, movie, music,
this dude
life,
used to swipe my
metaphysics,
bike and ride back to his house so he could meet me in the morning at my bus stop.
Yeah, just so we could smoke cigarettes when we were 13.
It was bad. But
yeah, and then and sometimes we get guests in the house, which tonight we have special guests. Introduce yourself, my friend.
I'm Larry Hankin. There you go.
I love it. That's it. I am lit. Which, I mean, dude, and that's honestly, like, you've been in so many things. Like, you've had such an extensive list and work. I mean, you've been working since the 60s. Like, holy crap, bro. That is insane.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, even before that, I was not on media. I was a stand-up comedian. That's how I started.
Oh, dope.
And it's never... in the early 60s, I started off as just, I went to Syracuse University. I'm an industrial designer. That's what I graduated. That's what I got my degree in. So the show business just happened. I don't know how I got into it. It seemed to be cool because I couldn't keep a job doing anything else. So show business was a fallback.
Dude, that's funny. Because usually it's when you're trying to get into showbiz, being a waiter or something in the food and beverage is your fallback, but it's not for you. Good for you, bro. That's awesome.
Well, but I didn't know it at the time.
It's just how it happened.
My morning shake, so I got to have it. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't know about show business. I was brought up in a very sequestered, protective, vapid home. I mean, we had nothing. There was nothing going on. In my youth, there was nothing going on. Far Rockaway High. I went to college as an industrial designer. I didn't like it. And my best friend in college was Carl Gottlieb, who wrote Jaws, and all those movies. He wrote a lot of movies.
Dr. Detroit, which is why Dr. Detroit. He wrote Dr. Detroit, which is one of my
Detroit. I think that was one of his first ones, I guess. I don't know. I don't know his history, but yeah, he's like, I know him like you guys know each other. He's back in the old days in college. And I asked him, I said, where are you going when you graduate? We're going to graduate at the same time. And he said he was going to Greenwich Village. He was going to be a writer, and get a newspaper job or something like that in New York. And I said, would you like a roommate? Because I don't want to go to Detroit and design cars. That's where I was going. That was the deal. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And he said, yeah, well, I need a roommate. Okay, I'm going to Greenwich Village. So I called my parents and I said, going to Greenwich Village. And they were very disappointed. And when I got to Greenwich Village, I didn't know what to do there. I mean, I had a degree in industrial design in Greenwich Village. That means diddly. So I got a job cleaning a bar after last call, cleaning up all the peanuts, shells and stuff. And Carl was writing. He got a job on a very small newspaper, but he was writing. He was doing what he wanted to do. And I had my evenings free, so I was in Greenwich Village, so I went to coffee houses and waited until 2 a.m., last call. The bar was right around the corner. I mean, it was in Greenwich Village, too. we lived in Greenwich Village. The bar was in Greenwich Village. Coffee houses were in Greenwich Village. So I just went to Greenwich Village and open mic night. So I would just watch these open mic nights with these, fairly okay comedians. I mean, it's open mic night. You get 3 minutes, you get up there. The great thing about open mic nights is the audiences, because they know it's open mic night. They know that this guy, as not funny as he is, or as bad a guitar player as he is, he's only going to be there for 3 minutes or 2 songs. So I'm not going to boo because I'm here with my friend and they're going to boo him. So everybody always was quiet until their guy came on, and then it was, yay, man. So when you don't get booed and you're trying to be funny like a stand-up comedian, that's a grace period. That's great. You don't have to worry. You just keep doing it until people start to laugh, which is what I did. They just
awesome.
kept doing it until people would not sit there and wait for their guy to go on. They would laugh at what I was doing. And then I finally started to, get booked.
Were you into writing material, or were you just kind of doing it all?
I couldn't even write. I mean, I didn't know how to write a joke. I could write. I went to college, but I mean, I couldn't write.
I'm literate.
I'm not illiterate, but I couldn't. I didn't know how to sit down and look at a blank piece of paper and come up with something funny. I didn't know how to do that. I mean, that's how weird my upbringing was. I mean, I couldn't create. I didn't know how to create. That my parents didn't want me to be an artist at all. They wanted me to support them in their old age. So, so I just kept doing it until I started to get laughs, and I would remember it. Thank God I had a photographic memory for what I was doing. So I guess maybe that's what stand-up comedians do. They do have some sort of memory for jokes. They know how to, once they say it and they get a laugh, it's like nailed to the walls of your mind or something.
So it's like the spaghetti trick.
Well, the psychology.
Right? Yeah. If it sticks to the wall. Yeah, exactly.
But the psychology would be that your brain, gives you that dopamine or whatever. It's like, oh, I got that laugh, and your brain goes, oh, I want more of that. So it recall those situations. So So
I kept on doing it until somebody came in and said, hey, you want a manager? And I said, yeah. And I said, okay. And he said, okay. And he said, okay. And he gives me his card. I didn't know who he was. I didn't care. Because in those days, it wasn't, you didn't want to, in Greenwich Village anyway, you weren't there to become famous or rich, or you were there to get representation. That was the big thing.
Right.
Representation. Everybody was there to get a manager or an agent or something. You get booked out of Greenwich Village. That was the whole point. Get me out of here. I don't want to do coffee shops anymore. 3 minutes. So finally, this guy came in and he said, okay, I'll start booking you in a while. I'll come back every once in a while. I'll check to see if you're getting any funnier, but you're cool. And, then there was bragging rights. When you get a representation and you meet with the other performers in Greenwich Village, and have a beer or something with them, you go, oh, hey, I got a representation. Oh, who'd you get? Oh, I got this guy. I never heard of him. So when I said Jack Rollins, everybody went, what? And I go, Jack Rollins, I don't know. He's a guy. He came in. He said, here's some dude. You know who Jack Rollins is? Jack Rollins was Woody Allen's manager. And Woody Allen was like really,
Oh, yeah, back then, right?
Yeah.
He was just, he's doing television and stuff. And I was opening for Woody Allen. That was like, holy cow, man.
Dude, that's
opening for Woody Allen. So that's what started me. But then came the Great Awakening. I started to do critical thinking humor. I really became a fan of Lenny Bruce and Richie Pryor and George Carlin.
Right. Yes.
And the cops started to show up, and that was not my bag. That was not my bag at all. I was pulled off the stage in George Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, somewhere around there, by 20 policemen. 20, not 2 or 3. 20. They marched up. It was an arena.
I mean, maybe the camera's not getting it all, but you don't seem that big to me.
Yeah, I'm not seeing 20. Why 20? What's
20?
I mean, that's a hell of a compliment to you.
You're that dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, they're like, no, we need more guys.
But again, I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I mean, why are you pulling me off this? The reason that I was pulled off the stage was because I didn't even say a curse word or anything dirty. I intimated it. The thing that got me, the thing that got me was I said, I think George Washington University might have been a religious university. Maybe that was it. Okay. Because I said, the thing that got the cops to come down the thing was I said, okay, I'm God. You know, I was doing a stand-up thing. It's okay, let's talk about religion. I'm God, and I got this microphone, I got this little microphone here. And I go, okay, I got this little guy, this little human being, and I put him on the top of the microphone stand, and I'm talking to him. And the audience started to yell, no, don't do God, don't do God. And I go, I totally ignored it. There was like 2,000 people. So I said, kids, college kids.
Yeah.
I said, what is that? Where's your clothes? That was the thing that started it. Where's your clothes? I said. And I said, what is that between your legs? And that was it. And then they just started to riot. Well, they almost started to riot. They didn't start it, but they started to boo, boo, and make a lot of noise. And that's when the cops started to come down. It turned out, I found out later that the first time I started anything, close to, I may have said, fuck or shit or some weird one single word, but as an expression, not like I was going to get into dirty words. You're not going to George
Carlin it up here and be like, the 7 words I can't say, and just like
exactly.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't even doing a bit. I was saying, well, okay, fuck that. Let's just talk about this. I mean, that's how, offhand it was.
Gotcha.
So,
and the dean who was in the back called the police when I said that word. He called the police and they showed up. And then when I started to do this, hey, what's that between your legs? They said, don't do that. The audience was yelling, don't do that. No God, no religion. No. And they wouldn't let me talk. They just kept yelling. And they started throwing the armrests they pulled the armrests of these wooden armrests and this old thing and throwing them at me. Wow. So I said, okay. I started to talk to them. And they listened. It was really weird because I said, hey, wait a minute. No, what are you booing about? You're college students. You're supposed to be okay with this stuff.
You're supposed to be open-minded.
And they shut up. They just went, quiet. Like, oh, the guy's talking to us. Let's listen what he got. I wasn't doing a bit. And I said, and they kept on yelling, do clean material. They were yelling that. Do clean material, do clean. So I said, okay. I mean, all right. If you don't let me do what I want to do. So, you always have clean material. So something to do. So I started doing that. And that's when the cops showed up. In other words, the dean had called them. I had quit doing the bad stuff. Yeah, right. So now I was doing clean material. So the cops just waited in the back and they didn't know that, well, he's not doing anything weird. So the dean said, well, stay here until he starts again.
It's coming.
No pressure. Sure enough, when I did some clean material, I got a really big laugh at something because they went into a normal audience mode. I was doing clean material. They forgot about what I was doing and throwing stuff, and they just became an audience. I got a big laugh, so I said, okay. And I put that, okay, now what's that between your legs? And they just freaked out because I sucker punched them.
That just
and so that's when the cops came in. Okay, get off the stage.
But 20? I think that's
crazy. That was like 1967 in the 70s. It was like 1970, around 1970. So I figured they were past that, bullshit about booing, but no.
That's really hard to call. Like a comedian, you have to kind of walk the line. I mean, that's where
good comedian. Back in those days,
it was the time.
Choice. Excuse me?
It was the time of when it was, because this reminds me, a lot of what you were saying reminds me of scenes that were like depicted or played out in the same sense in like Mrs. Maisel.
I get. I don't watch that. I haven't watched that show, but people tell me to watch it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and it has Lenny Bruce in it. And it's that time era where it's like if you say one thing or you misstep, like the cops will legit come in and take you out. Well, yeah,
that's what's going. That's what was going on. And I knew Lenny because I was Mr. Bruce. I knew Lenny because I was in the committee, because I quit. I couldn't tell you. I called Jack Rollins. I said, man, I can't do this. They're booing. The cops are pulling me off the stage. I mean, I don't know. I didn't sign up for this. I just want to make people laugh. This is ridiculous. So he said, well, join Second City. They're doing the same thing as Lenny and Carlin, but they own the theater, so nobody can touch you.
That's dope.
So I auditioned, and I joined Second City, and that's how I got into show business, acting and stuff like that. It was
now you're doing like a troupe, basically. It's like a comedic troupe almost, or like an acting.
Say that again. Say that again.
So that's you were saying, like, so Second Committee is basically like an acting troupe, kind of like comedic.
Yeah. But again, I didn't have to write, so I improvised everything. But I could remember what I did and where the laughs were. So I had hunks that I could do each night, and they were the same. But I never wrote anything. So Second City was perfect for me because you could just get up on stage, and within the context of the agreement, when you go on stage, you have to agree on, okay, I'm going to be a cop and you're going to be a dentist, and we're going to talk about rain. So as long as we all agree on those three things and don't break that, we can go out on the stage and you can make up stuff, and it'll work out fine. It'll be funny.
Are you a fan of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I broke it out of my head.
No. It's not what I did. It's not Second City. It's not anything. That's that. They're funny. They do it great. They know what they're doing. That's not improv. It is improv, but the difference is that our improvs, and then we later broke off and went to the committee. So I was in two different groups, and also I knew about all the groundlings and all the other improv. The difference is that we did relationship comedy. In other words, it had to be real. It had to be real. If I said I was going to be a dentist, if you called in, hey, do a dentist, I had to be a dentist, not a singing dentist, not a tap dentist. I had to.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that was my character, and I didn't break that. And also, the directors were really cool. One of the things because you had to go to school, you just didn't get on the stage and do it. You had to go to classes for about,
of course,
a couple of months before they would let you get on the stage and start improvising in front of an audience.
Got to do the work, bro. You got to do the work. Absolutely.
Well, you got to do the work. And so their work, Whose Line Is It Anyway, is different work. Right. In other words, they teach you in a different way. So I couldn't do that. And I don't think they could probably do what I did with just a little, because they're very sharp. They have to listen. The whole key is listen. You got to listen to what was just said. If you're just waiting to say something funny, it'll die, man. Because you didn't have the setup. You're just saying something funny that you set up in your head. The audience and the other characters didn't have your setup. So in other words, it's called I guess it's called writing. Don't write. Because the other people don't have your script.
Situational.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so it's trust.
You brought up a great point, which I think goes to, because for what I've been told on the background is that you're very much a method actor, where you're like, dude, I am this person, like you, because
yeah.
Well, the story
I laugh because that's not what I do, but the end result is that's exactly what I do.
Well, yeah,
I have an incredible imagination. You know, it gets me in trouble. But it's why I'm funny. But in other words, so I will just say anything that comes to my mind. But once you get in the school of improv school, you know that your mind starts to just pick and choose. It just doesn't blurt stuff out. But yeah, in other words, my imagination makes me the character. I just I go, and that's it. Yeah, you don't have to give me any backstory or anything. I'll just become.
Just dope.
It's just imagination. It's just relaxation, is what it is. You got to relax.
You got to get out of the character's way. That's what we say about us.
Get out of your own way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no. So I have two different stories on what gives evidence that you were in the style of a method actor, and that was one when you did the character Old Joe in Breaking Bad, is you actually went to a junkyard. But the one that I really liked is you were supposed to be playing a role of a dog catcher, and the wardrobe brings you your costume, and you're like, I'm not wearing this. This is, what the hell is this shit? And he's like, well, this is, let's go to the director. You're like, fuck it, let's go to the director. And the director's like, hey, let's do this. And you're like, because look how clean this shit. This is not a dog catcher's outfit. What kind of shit is this? Like, you're that committed to the character. I was like, holy crap. Like, so the fact that you would go check a junkyard out to play that character for 2 freaking episodes, which, by the way, I love your delivery in anything you do. Your timing is immaculate. And I mean, wow. Honestly, because so I like the idea of being a speaker, and there's very much cadence and temperament, and you have to have the tone and the timing. And every role I've ever seen you in, it doesn't matter what character you're portraying, your timing is immaculate, and it makes every character you do just amazing to enjoy. Like, honestly.
Oh.
Even your physical comedy as well. Like,
for me, I'm just saying that's
no. I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't think about that at all. That never entered my mind.
Of course. That's the beauty of it. That's what makes it beautiful.
I was just telling them. Yeah, I was just telling them before we recorded, it was like the irony, like I was going through your bio and stuff, and I recognize you from stuff from like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And it was ironic because I come across Laverne Shirley and I go, oh my gosh, I literally just watched that episode like last week. And I was just like, and I remember, and I was explaining it to my husband, it's like, yeah, it's the one where, he came in and he got Lenny and Squiggy to hook him up with Laverne. And then he was like trying to take advantage of her, and like the physical comedy when you get hit over the head, like you literally, I watched that fall, not knowing we were doing this interview. Cause at that time when this wasn't even planned. And I was like, man, that actor legit had to like give into this role, because the way you fell and flipped over the couch and then went over the table and stuff like that, it's like you legit had to like give yourself to that, like, and commit, or it would not have worked. And it was like prime time, like with the physical comedy, not just verbal.
Right.
Well, okay. Can I talk about that for a second? That's really weird. I mean, I remember.
Please do.
What you're talking about. Well, the whole thing came about because I was working with Laverne. Laverne is a physical comedian. I mean, she's really great. So I knew that in front when I got the job, and she was also a friend. I mean, I knew her from outside just as a person, because, funny people kind of congregate together, hanging out at the same places. So I said, wow, I'm going to work with Laverne. Not Laverne, but I mean, what's
Penny Marshall?
Penny Marshall. I'm bad with names, but so I knew I was going to work with Penny. Now she's a physical comedian, and I'm a physical comedian, and she chose me for that role. She came to the committee in San Francisco, and I got a call from her production company, from Laverne and Shirley's production company. I think at my home, because I didn't have an agent at the time. Jack Rollins was a stand-up comedian. He knew nightclubs and stuff, but now I was in acting. And so he said, I don't do that. I don't know. You'll have to get a different one. So I was in between. So they called me at home and they said, Penny Marshall came up to see your show last week. They would fly up, people from LA, which is really kind of weird because if we flew down to LA to try to get an audition, because we wanted to be movie actors, we couldn't get in to see anybody. We were, who the hell are you? Who are you? Well, we're from San Francisco. No. But they would fly up and see us in this hit show and go, hey, get that guy. So that's what she did. She came up. We would get in and be seen by people we couldn't get to see. It was just really weird. So she came up and she said, I want to act with that guy. She's talking about me because he was a tall physical comedian and it was a physical role. She knew about that fall. So that's how I got to work with her. And then we were rehearsing that and another fall. She wanted to do a pratfall too. Now because we were dancing, I think it was a scene where we were practicing dancing at her home. So she came up with it and she said, why don't you dip me and then drop me? And that'll be funny. And I thought, well, it'll be funny, but I'm dancing. What?
Dude, it is kind of funny. You're like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah, right. Well, that's what she had in mind, and she came up with it. And I thought, well, cool, but I didn't say it, but what I was thinking was, hey, look, I don't want to get fired. I was still young and beginning. So I said, if I drop her and she hurts herself, I'm going to be fired. That's what I was thinking.
I want to drop you.
No, I don't know if I can do that, man. I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do it. And she said, why? I said, well, because if I drop you and you hurt yourself, I'm going to be fired. I told her that. So she said, no, don't worry about it. So I said, look, how about this? How about if I move you over towards the couch and I do drop you, but you fall on the couch? So at least I'm cool. I'm not feeling bad. So she said, fine. And then she said, when I did that, and I dropped her on the couch, fell, and she said, well, how about this? How about drop me on the couch and then you trip and fall on top of me? And I said, oh, that's okay. That's funny. So we did that once. I go, da, 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 boom, and I fall on her. And, her brother was the producer of that show, Gary Marshall.
Holy crap, that's right.
And I hear, I go, da, 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 boom, fall on her. And they go, hey, what's going on here? I go, what? And it's her brother. And he goes, what's this? What's that? I go, well, we're rehearsing the dance thing. And he goes, yeah, the rehearsal. What's this touchy-feely business? Touchy-feely business? What are you talking about? And he goes, what's you lying on the couch with my sister?
With my sister?
I don't think he said sister, but that's what he meant.
Yeah, right.
It's just about laying on the couch there. Well, he said, none of that. And he kept on saying touchy-feely. None of this touchy-feely. He said, we're rehearsing the dance number. It's funny. He said, you do it some other way. No, none of that. So that's why we came up with me going over the couch. She wanted falling, dancing, falling. So she insisted on that. So when he was hollering at me, for this touchy-feely thing with Laverne, with Penny, I looked at Penny like, what's going on here, man? We were rehearsing privately. There was nobody else around. I thought, okay. Well, and I had no eyes for touchy-feely. I was trying to be an actor.
Yeah, you were part of that role. You were ad-libbing with each other, playing off of each other, like, hey, let's try this.
Yeah, and he's a funny guy. He used to be a stand-up comedian when he started. I thought he would understand, but no. So I looked at her.
That's my sister!
No. So that's what she said. She looks at me and she goes, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's going on. So, that's what were you talking about? That fall reminded me of that whole situation where I go, what is going on? So this is show business.
It's funny on all.
Touchy-feely, no rehearsing, touching. But I said, I did say this to him. I said, We're dancing. We have to touch. I said that. We're dancing. He said, no touchy-feely. And he walked off, and she just said, he's my brother, Woody. So that's why I found that. On the other hand, if you watch the show, my partner, which was another friend of mine, Peter Elbing, who dated Cindy, the other girl, right?
Surely.
So when we went to the prom, I came in with Penny, but he came in with Cindy on his shoulders.
Like chicken fight style.
Like chicken fight style. And they were like doing like that. Again. Wait a minute. That's not touchy-feely? Are you kidding? What's going on? I mean, it just blew my mind.
But
that wasn't his sister.
That's my sister. Get off my sister. Yeah, freaking Ross and like Fred.
So I mean, and that's it. And then here I'm a young actor starting out, and this is what I couldn't figure out what am I getting into, and we never ran into this in San Francisco in improv. Don't touch her. What? So anyway, yeah, it was weird in the beginning because, like I said, I never dreamed of being an actor. I thought I was going to go to design school, not industrial design, which is what I did because I didn't do any research. I thought industrial design.
This sounds great.
Design. Dude, all of a sudden math and stuff.
Yeah, I keep checking those out.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you said initially, you're like, yo, I did industrial design. I was like, is that kind of why you have it? The pictures behind you? Is that your artistic?
It's not why. It was. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. I wanted to go to art school, so I wanted to be an artist, a painter. And my parents said, no, you either go to a career college where you can learn something. And take care of us when we're old. Or, you're not going to go to college, or you'll go to college right around here. They just, so when I said I want to go to an industrial design in Syracuse, I wanted to get out of the house away from Far Rockaway, Long Island. So Syracuse, and I saw industrial design, and I said, well, let me go to industrial design. Now, my father knew exactly what that was. It's a career, industrial design. But I thought it was an art school. That's how much I didn't know. So when I went up there, I got a scholarship, luckily. So I got in. But when I got there, I was very disappointed. But I stayed because I was a good kid. It was a 5-year course, and I was an A student. I mean, I was good, at designing. But the math and the mechanical stuff and the engineering was just, I didn't want to do that. So I as a default, I went to Greenwich Village with Carl, and that's how I got into show business. It wasn't in my bailiwick. It wasn't in my mind to be an actor. It was a fallback. I luckily got on the stage and we're watching comedians, and I was a funny kid in high school, so. All right, let me see.
You're intrinsically a right brain guy.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I totally get that.
Really weird.
And I'm
so I read somewhere you also sing. Is that true?
Say that again.
I read somewhere that you also sing.
Sing? Yeah, I've heard that too. No, I don't. I don't at all. I saw that somewhere. And he sings.
We just cleared that up.
Yeah, Mike, in your shower or something?
Not even in the shower. I was a don't sing guy in kindergarten. Larry didn't sing because I was singing off key. I've learned to carry a tune. I can carry a tune, but that's just me trying to be a singer and being able to sing with other people, but I don't do it in public that's just me in the shower. But the outside world doesn't know Larry is a singer at all. So, but I saw it in print somewhere. Yes.
Who got a hold of that or made that up? I don't know.
Well, I think after a while you just figure, well, you can put that down too. Yeah, he's in everything. He's probably a singer. But,
well, maybe because you were in Annie, they assumed that you might have, even though
maybe.
you played the dog catcher, and then you were also in a couple music videos in back in the day. Was it Janet Jackson,
Janet
McIntyre?
Jackson. Wow, have you done research? Wow.
No, right. We do our homework here, my friend.
Well, yeah, but it never entered my mind about singing. I mean, it just, but I have seen it in print, and maybe it's in Wikipedia. I don't know. But I thought, well, I leave it. In other words, I don't deny anything. I have several birthdays. I have not denied any of them. It's just nice to every once in a while just randomly get, hey, Larry, happy birthday. Oh, thanks. It's great. It's great. It's wonderful. So I got about five of them, five dates that are all over the place. Yeah, it's cool.
Sorry,
I'll accept anything you say if it's not too bad.
I'm just thinking about that one story. I think it was Christopher Walken who would trick you.
Oh, no.
It was his
I
birthday.
can't shut this off. There's no way it comes through the internet. You're going to just have to let it ring. Well, wait a minute. Maybe if I can shut it, can I shut it off? No, it doesn't shut off.
That's all right.
Yeah, it does. Okay, cool.
That's what we do here. No worries. We tangent, we get sidetracked. That's what, JD's here to keep us corralled in case we get like way off topic. She's like, by the way, 10 minutes ago, this is what you guys were on. We're like, oh yeah, we forgot about that shit.
Well, that used to be your job.
Well, yeah, it used to be, but you can't
because I'm tangent man.
Police me and you, dude. That shit is tiring, bro. I'm just saying, why do you think I drink so much? It's you.
Wow.
What are you drinking? Are you allowed to say?
Oh yeah, this is Professor Booty by Round Guys Brewing. This is like we drink a lot of their beers.
Is it beer?
Yeah, it is. So for us, it's afternoon time. We're after.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We're in the afternoon. I had my fruit smoothie shake this morning, so I have my good breakfast.
Oh well, yeah. This is my smoothie.
I'm primarily vegetarian, so I'm very much into let's eat as, I hate to use the word organic because that doesn't really mean shit nowadays, but I try to eat as little processed food as possible, I would say.
Yeah, cool. Me too.
I think it's healthier for you. It's I'm very much into like sustaining, self-sustaining lifestyle.
So you can live to see the apocalypse. Good for us,
right, dude? That's a good way to put it. I like that shit.
You do eat a burger a heck of a lot more often than me because I haven't had a burger in.
Well, yeah, but because you're damn near vegan. I'm just like,
wait a minute. You just said you were vegan.
No. He's vegan. I said I'm primarily vegetarian.
Primarily.
Oh, well, meat is not vegetarian.
Oh, agreed. That's why I do. That's why I said I'm primarily. So like 90% of the time, my meals are 100% vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
Every
once in a while for the apocalypse to as they said, there's a quote to mortify the flesh. In other words, if you have to eat garbage when the apocalypse comes, well, I was eating meat, so hey, it's okay. My body knows about it.
In a sense, because we've talked about this a lot with how parents nowadays will like put their kid into such a bubble that their body doesn't build an immune system, and it's like
right. And then mentally, I was brought up in a bubble, so when I hit Greenwich Village, I was like totally empty. In other words, I was very surprised by what I saw. I didn't know about hippies or long hair or rock and roll.
You found out really
I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah, right. You found out really quick.
Crash course.
Yeah.
Well, it just stuffed down into my ears and my eyes. I was just surrounded by it. And to me, it was just perfect fodder for comedy. All my comedy was based on Greenwich Village, and marijuana and hippie and long hair. I was mocking them and trying to be them at the same time, trying to dress that way and let my hair grow long. And, and then finally I did it so that when Jack Rowland started booking me around the United States, in Iowa and Kansas and Missouri, and all I had was Greenwich Village hippie humor. And it just didn't fly out. That's about the cops and stuff and the cursing. You can curse or do whatever you want in Greenwich Village. It was cool. So I thought, well, that's okay. That's the world.
No.
But no, the cops started to show up. I called Jack and he said, join Second City. You're not built for that, Larry.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this.
I think I got a question.
Yeah.
You think you have a
I think
question?
I got a question. No, I'm just like, who's the one person, if you were to pick one person in your life that you met that really affected you and really changed your opinion about a lot of things and whatever topic it is? I mean, I'd be interested in
Two people who I met who are alive. I mean, I got the old masters. I go, all those guys,
of course.
But Picasso probably, broke all the walls and stuff. But Lenny Bruce and Bob Dylan. That's it.
I mean,
whoa, yeah,
dude. I mean,
Dylan's like a poet. I mean,
he is.
Yeah, I mean,
well, no, man. I mean, I didn't pick him because he was a poet. I just picked him because of how he thinks and what he says and what he's for and the words and images and all that stuff. I mean, it's the package, the Dylan package. How he made me think. I mean, he changed the way I think. So did Picasso and so did Lenny. I mean, just, so, and then that's how I judge people who I idolize. Picasso, hey, Michelangelo. I mean, I when I grew up in my house, there was no new. There was nothing new, nothing of my time. It was all Encyclopedia Britannicas and, the world's best novels like Don Quixote, Cervantes, and stuff like that. That's what I grew up on because there's nothing else in the house to read. My parents just bought blocks of books to put on the shelves so that when company came over, they were impressed.
But you were reading classics though, so.
Well, I didn't know what I was reading. I just wanted to read because there was no television, I mean, it was black and white and stuff. So I just would read anything. It just didn't matter. Comic books, the classic comic books. I would read the Encyclopedia Britannica. I would just pick a book and I would read a page. I'd open it up and I'd read it.
To quote
myself. It was random. The knowledge was random. I didn't look up something.
Remember when people used to read?
And I'd open it and I'd read it. And I would start to read like Cervantes, the great books, They didn't read any of that. They just put it up there.
You look good. Purely aesthetics. Keeping up with the
visual. But it helped me out. But then when I got to Greenwich Village, I didn't recognize any of their references. They were referencing Kerouac, and that. Those writers around that time and the Fugs and Dylan, that was writing to me. And I would just read their poetry.
Coffee house language, right? Coffee house language, basically.
Well, yeah, in other words, it was like, I was born, because everything that I learned in Far Rockaway in high school and growing up in my parents' house didn't apply. It just didn't apply to anything outside of my house.
There was no practical hands-on worldwide knowledge. Yeah,
exactly. So when I hit Greenwich and when I was in college, the 5 years I was in college, the 5-year course, I just did my homework and I hung around the art school. I got thrown out of college twice because of the way I thought and what I did with the objects.
Did you see that
were given to me as an industrial designer?
Oh yeah, dude, the smirk that you're just like, I mean, it's like, yeah, well, easy there, guy. Yeah, no, that was, you obviously enjoyed that very much.
Well, no, I just didn't. In other words, okay, here's like one time that I got thrown out of college. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yes. You just know how to push the envelope to the right amount.
No, just a little more than that. Just
a little too much, apparently. He gets 20 copies.
A little too much is just about right, So what I did was, what you did was you get an assignment at the end. This is like my junior or senior year. you get an assignment for the end of the year, design something and build it, something. So it was a chair. You had to design a chair and build it, make the chair and be able to sit on it. Design a chair and also a mailbox. So those are two things. One was made out of sheet metal, mailbox, and the other was wood. So you had to do those things, and that was this. So the mailbox, sheet metal, you had it. They gave you. They had a shop, a metal shop. It's in a university. You are assigned something, and then you go into the shop and you build it, and then you get marked by. So I needed a sheet metal, a sheet bending thing, something flat sheet, and you make a mailbox. Well, there's a lot of guys. There's about 30 guys, 20 or 30 guys in the class, and then there's only 2 or 3 sheet metal bending machines in the shop. So you had to get in line and wait, and there was also a time involved. It's got to be done by the end of the week. And so what I started to do is I started to invent other machines to do metal bending that, I couldn't use the metal bending machines for. And
necessities
threw me out of the shop for using
inappropriate use of tools.
Exactly.
Bullshit. That's innovative. I mean,
so did you go to the same college me?
But that's the whole point of going to college, especially when you get into the doctoral procedure, is you're trying to make new advances in that. So you're thinking outside of the box and they're giving you shit for it. That's fucked up, bro. That's just that.
Well, I didn't know that I was thinking outside of the box. I was just trying to get it done by Thursday.
Right.
No shit.
So what happened was he threw me out of the shop. Okay, well, that seems like an okay decision from a professor's point of view. So I said to him, hey, but I got to bend sheet metal. If you throw me out of the shop, that's it. I can't build this by Thursday. I can't go into the city and look for, that's not fair. That's all I thought. That's not fair. So he said, I don't care, because we didn't get along anyway. So he said, okay, yeah, you're out. So I did, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a 0 for this or a fail or whatever. So I went to the head of the department of the design department, of the school, of the art school. It was part of the art school. And I went and I said, I want to see the head, the dean of that school. So I got in. I left the shop and I went across campus to the dean and I asked, could I go see him right now? And I got in. He says, yeah, Larry, what do you want? And I started complaining about this professor and how unfair it was that he threw me out of the shop and I'm going to get a 0 or a fail. And I didn't think it was fair. That was my whole thing. And as I'm, laying out my plea, who walks in the door but the professor who just threw me out of the shop about 20 minutes ago? He walks in and he goes, Larry, what are you doing here? And I go, oh, I'm just reporting you, is what I
got nowhere to be right now since you kicked me out of your class.
Yeah, so I just came in here and I'm telling the dean what you just did. And the dean says, all right, hold it. Larry, leave the room. I got to talk to your professor alone for a second. Let's get this thing straight. So I go outside and there's like a three minutes. And then the professor comes out and he says, all right, come in. So I go in and he says, you're thrown out of school. I go, what do you mean? He says, you're out of the university. You're gone. We threw you out. You can't do what you just did. And you can't come in here and complain about it. Get out. So I was thrown out of school. So now I had to go to, like the head of the university to plead my case. So the bottom line of this whole story is I got back in. I was thrown out again about a couple of months later for some other infraction, fighting with somebody. I don't know. I got back in again. I just didn't want my parents to know. That was the only reason I fought to get back in. I thought, oh my God, if my parents find out,
Right.
I was a kid, So I didn't know. And later, many years later, when I did meet Bob Dylan, and I did talk to Lenny Bruce, and blah blah blah, in show business, and I found out these people never went to college.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan dropped out. Lenny never did go to college. And I got, holy cow, I should have stayed out when they threw me out.
They were
stupid jerk I was.
Yeah, they were hooking you up and you didn't even know it.
Right. So that's I mean, how out of it. And I thought, I got to sharpen up here because, you know, the world is going to eat me up if I just remain in this state. So that's when I started to really like try to get myself hooked into what was going on. And I started to then book jobs. I mean, I guess as you like yourself better, people also like yourself. I guess that's how it works.
Well, yeah, we talk about it all the time where you have to love yourself before you can love anything else. And I mean, that's everything and everyone. You literally have to start with you before you can externalize that.
Exactly. So I didn't learn that until, you know, much later in life. So it's been catch up ever since. But, you know, get it when you get it. That's it.
So, I have
sometimes.
Hold on. I got to geek out real quick because, all right. So my daughter is named after Rachel's baby in Friends. And if I don't ask you any question about Friends, she's going to hate me for life. So,
okay.
And I'm fully aware of the fact that you only have.
Hey, you know, can I just talk to your daughter for a second?
Well, I mean, she actually,
she's watching this?
No, she's in
TV.
She will.
California right now in Mission Viejo area. So she's out there for school.
What's her name?
Her name is Emma.
Emma. You can hate your dad for other reasons. It doesn't have to be just for Friends.
Oh, Larry, dude, that is exactly the shit I would say. I appreciate you so hard right now. But yeah, no, so she's literally a Friends baby, as well as she's seen every episode in chronological order.
Come on, open up your mind, Emma. Come on.
Oh, you do
the world out there.
So she's going to be a special needs early education teacher in specificity sign language. That's what she wants to be one of those really helpful people in the world. Yeah. So
cool.
But it's not her question. I just got to, reference the fact of you were on Friends. Her name is that. So that was it. I'm good.
Why all the bananas?
Yeah. Why all the potassium? Got to have my potassium.
So I guess a good question that I had was, with the vast amount of what you've done with your career, like going across different genres, between
more than Morgan Freeman, you've had more roles than Morgan Freeman. They tell
really?
Dude, he did 140.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
a new piece of information. Thank you very much, Morgan Freeman. Man, that guy's cool. That guy works.
Yeah, but that's what they say is he's in everything. Fuck that. You've been in more shit than him. Fuck Morgan Freeman. I love him to death.
Oh, man.
Better than Morgan.
Well, I'm not pulling in what he's pulling in, but go Morgan.
Yeah, right.
So what would be your personal favorite project that you've worked on throughout your entire career?
Wow. Well, that's a good question. I do have one that I've always loved. Very obscure. Nobody probably knows about it. But, there's two. Okay, I got it. Two. All right. The one is very recent, but I'll tell you the first one is, wait a minute. What's I lost it. What is the second one is, wow. I'm trying to think of the names of the shows that do it. It was about a judge. It was a movie about Star Chamber. Star Chamber. I played an undercover cop in Star Chamber, and I just played a great undercover cop. I mean, when I watched the movie when it came out, I thought I did a really great job. Not a good job, but it's the only thing where I thought, wow, I freaking nailed it, man. That I don't see Larry Hankin. I just see this undercover cop.
So you fully embodied the detective Kenneth Wiggin.
Wow, yeah. And I just loved what I did. And I'll tell you even the line that pushed me over the edge, that said, okay, it's not a good part. I'm doing a great job. there was one line that was written, and I thought, if I can just say this right, if I can get this, it was the line was, I found a way to get the thing that was robbed. The thief, as he ran away from us and we're chasing him, he threw the thing that he stole in a garbage can in front of his house. So he was running and he threw it in the garbage can and ran into his house. And my partner said, get the thing, it's in the garbage can. I saw him throw it in the garbage can. And I said, no, you can't do that. You need a search warrant to go in the garbage can. It's part of his house. I mean, that's the law. Well, as a cop, yeah. I knew that. And that was written. That was written in it saying, no, you can't do that because it's part of his house. So we can't touch it. So we were standing there, and then in the script, it says, my character says, but wait, because I see a garbage truck coming. And I say, wait, I know how to do it. And he says, what? And I say, wait until the garbage truck collects the garbage. Once he takes the garbage, throws it in the truck, it's not his anymore.
Correct.
It's public domain. We just pick it out of the garbage in the truck. And my partner says, hey, that's a great idea. How did you think of that? And my character says something to the effect of, oh, I guess I'm just a genius. Okay. Now, I wanted to say that in a really cool way. I thought that's a great thing for my character to have to say. And I want to pull that off to make my character better. And for whatever reason, I don't remember what I went through or if I said it. But when I watched it and I saw, I thought, wow, that's the right way to do it, because I didn't want Larry to be saying that. I had to be in the character. That character had to own it. There you go. The character had to own that thing. He was very proud. That character was very proud of the fact that he thought of that. And so when I saw it, I thought, yeah, okay. The second one was when I did Barry. What's his name? Who's the star of that? Barry. It's a great series. Anybody is that familiar? Have you ever heard of that show, Barry?
I don't know.
Anybody?
She's scrolling. I can see her scrolling through her screen right now.
So Bill Hader.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bill Hader, I love Bill Hader. I mean, I think he's great. I'm a big fan of him.
Dude, absolutely. He's phenomenal. I mean, because you talk about somebody who sells.
And he's directing and writing and acting the lead in that show. And he didn't hire. I mean, they called me. I auditioned. No, I didn't even audition. I got a call out of the blue. I had quit acting by then. I had gotten rid of my agents and everything. I thought, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go out on my own. So they called me at home, and I was turning down jobs. And then he said, Bill Hader wants you to do, or for the job, Barry. And I said, I'll do it. I just want to work with Bill Hader, under Bill Hader, be directed by Bill Hader, say words he wrote, whatever, Bill Hader. So I did it. And that's the only, in all my acting career, and all those things that you say that I've done over the years, I never, ever did a backstory on it, because I'm not an actor. I don't do that. I just either I do it or I don't. I mean, boom.
So you bring up Bill Hader. Yeah, so you bring up Bill Hader. The funny thing is when he does Gemini, he's like GEMINI, and I'm like, bleep, Lord, bleep. That's Bill Hader's character in Pineapple Express. He's the guy smoking item 9, and he's like, dude, I feel like a big piece of butter melting on flapjacks right now. And he's like, boom, 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 and he's all that shit, dude. When he does the bleep Lord thing, that's Bill Hader's character in. So I mean, yeah, we fucking love Bill Hader. He is ridiculous.
Right. So I didn't want to fuck up for Bill Hader, and I thought I hadn't been working in a while, because I've been turning down jobs. I hadn't worked in maybe 2 years, so I thought maybe I better do a backstory. Maybe just for this, for Bill Hader, for the part, just to get back into the acting thing. So I did a really thorough backstory on that character of Stovka, the hitman from Russia, who is going to kill Bill Hader and his partner. And they shipped them in from Russia. So the first thing they said on the phone was, he said, well, Bill Hader, Barry, we want you to do a part. Can you do it? Will you do it? I said, well, what is it? And he said, well, can you do a Russian accent? It's a Russian guy. So I just said what every actor would say. Oh, yeah, sure. Ride a horse? Of course. Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, all day.
Sure. What do you need? So I said, that's fine. And then she said, this is really great. She said, well, would you mind if we had a voice coach for accents on the set just to check? And I thought, wow, that's so cool. Yes. Because, that's what I needed. Perfect. I said, oh, no, I don't mind at all. That would be fine.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
So I said, all right, I'm all set. I'll do a backstory. I got a coach. I'm cool. I'm ready. All right. So I show up, and the first thing that I did was when I got on the set there, and there was Bill Hader over there, I said, okay, I went to an AD and I said, where's the voice coach? Because that was the key to the whole thing. I needed the voice coach.
Need a quick session.
That was the whole character. So they said we couldn't find her. Or him. I don't know. We don't know. So they said, oh my God. And I started to really get shook because this was I suddenly made it, very important to me. I never make jobs important to me. I mean, if I get the job, fine. That's it. I'll just do it and go home.
One, you're like, dude, I got this. I got to bang it. I got to be the best. You're like, you're.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. If I got it, okay. I forget about it and show up.
But for Bill Hader, you're like, dude, I got.
But Bill Hader, no, man. It was just like, it was like OCD, So I said, I got to find the voice coach. I couldn't find it. And then the AD comes up. I was in my costume already. And the AD comes up and he says, okay, they're setting up your scene. You're going to shoot it now. You got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I
can't find the voice coach. And, all I have is improv Russia. It's just junky stuff.
Yeah,
do a Russian dentist. Okay. So I thought, this is going to be embarrassing.
No shit.
But I did the backstory. I knew that Stovka, had a wife and that she found out about it, that I was a hitman and she was leaving me and she was taking the kids. And so that's why I was killing myself. In other words, I needed a reason to come and kill this guy and instead turn the gun on myself. I had to make up a reason for doing that. And my reason was my wife found out I was a hitman, took the kids and divorced me. And I couldn't take it, and I'm going to kill myself. Okay, that sounded reasonable to me. I worked on that. I saw my wife. I saw the kids. I saw them taken away. I felt terrible. I go, and there's no voice coach. And Hader comes up to me and says, hi, I'm Bill Hader, and let's go. Boom. And so, okay. And so I did my committee, improv Russian comedy voice. And nobody's sitting. No. And here's the other thing. Bill Hader never spoke to me once he said, hi, you're up. Let's go. He didn't say, are you ready? He didn't say nothing. He said, okay, you're up, Larry, get in there. And he gets behind the camera. And that was it. And we shot for the whole morning. That my scene, him and me and blah, blah, blah. Never spoke to me the entire time. I was starting to get bothered, and I'm doing this jokey Russian accent, and I knew the show has verisimilitude. It's got to be right and perfect and real.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought, man, I don't know what's going on, but he's not talking to me. He's probably mad and doesn't want to talk to me. And
mad? He doesn't want to say anything. Oh my God!
I didn't know what was going on. Again, that naivete that all of a sudden you lose. I hadn't been acting in 2 years. At the end of the scene, I get dismissed, and Bill Hader says, "Okay, Larry, is it dismissed?" And they all, clap like that whenever anybody's dismissed. It doesn't matter, big, small. Okay, he's dismissed, and I give a little hand. And I went and I changed my clothes, and I go back, and I had to talk to Bill Hader. I just had to ask him. So I go back and I go, hey, Bill. He goes, yeah. I go, can I talk to you for a second? He goes, yeah, sure. Why? And I go, look, you didn't talk to me the whole time. It was just, was I doing something wrong, or why didn't you give me any direction? I was out there. I needed direction. Now the scene is in the can. He's moved on already. So he goes, no, it was fine. It was really great. I mean, he said, but you didn't talk to me. And he goes, Larry, me and my partner, who was watching with him, his partner, who's a writing partner, actually directs with him. There are two of them. He says, well, me and my partner were watching you do the scene, and we didn't write it the way you were doing it. And I go, oh, no. And he goes, fuck. But we thought you were doing such a unique job that we didn't know where you were coming from. So I didn't know what to direct you with or how to tell you what to do. You were doing fine, man.
It's awesome.
We didn't want to stop you.
He's like, dude, you were fucking crushing it. We didn't want to tell you otherwise. We're like, dude,
yeah.
This is what we had. We're good.
What the hell is going on, man? That's a spam risk. It's even a spam risk.
Well, that's all right.
I can't believe this.
We're at that place. We're
over anyway. But
I would never tell you.
Anyway, yeah. So it turned out the only time that I did a backstory, it wasn't really. It was so unique that he loved it. Boom.
Yeah, fuck it. You do that.
Go figure show business. I don't know.
Right. Hey, which I think that's a great place for us to finish on. I mean, that is phenomenal. Yeah. Larry, you have been, I mean, honestly, again, I had to bring up my kid and all that because otherwise she'd hate me, even though she doesn't. Yeah. So that's a joke. But still, simple fact is you have been phenomenal. We greatly appreciate you. We would love for you to come back at any point. If we can get you on for the green room, that would be ridiculous because it's more of what we're doing here, but it'd be later in the day. And
wait, can you send these?
Okay, can I just say one thing before we go?
Of course, go ahead, bro.
Just one thing. I wrote a book. I wrote 2 books.
Oh yeah,
that's my commercial. Okay, one is called The Loopholes Dossier, and the second one is called That Guy. That Guy is coming out in September of 2023. But That Guy is my bio of my time in show business. So it's all the stories
I like the name
you guys want to know. It's 45 of the movies that are the best memorable parts that I've had.
I have to say,
so I think it's coming out.
That's appropriate since you did
it's amazing when we started looking you up. Like the minute I saw your photos, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know who that guy is."
That guy.
But like, it is.
That's it. That's why I called it That Guy. Everybody, you're that guy. You're that guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So okay, then the other book. So that's That Guy. That's coming out in September 2023. I'll come back on the show and do a book thing at that time.
Yes, and please, my
the second book is out now, and it's on Amazon and all those bookstores and stuff. And it's called The Loopholes Dossier, and it's just short stories and fables, funny short stories and fables, satires. They're just
you have to come back on. You have to hear your Russian accent.
Oh yes,
we want you. Yeah.
Also, Larry, with your artwork, is there a way where people could view or purchase any of your artwork?
Yeah. Go to my website is thereallarryhankin.com because larryhankin.com has been stolen and being held hostage by some hackers.
Oh, wow.
So thereallarryhankin.com. Yeah, they're all for sale. They can be that size, or you can get them even this size. They're prints, and you can send away from. Also, T-shirts with them on. These 2 things are $500 a piece. That size, 5 by 4. But you can get them for like $20 if they're small. But the T-shirts with all of my art, there's 40 of them, are for like $13. You get them on your T-shirt.
It's awesome.
That's pretty cool. That also is on thereallarryhankin.com. Okay, that's the commercials. There you go.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Your art looks dope. I will want to purchase some. However, I'm going to make a contingency. I would love for a signature because we have other art on our wall from other guests, and we make sure that they sign their work for us, even if it's a print.
Yeah. No, there's a way to do that. You can ask for me to sign it.
Perfect. We will make this happen. Larry Hankins, thank you so much. You have been phenomenal.
Guys.
Your story,
JD.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The best fact checker in the world. But yeah, Philly D,
Mr. Gemini.
Clickety clack, a fact checker, Miss JD.
and of course, Mr. Larry Hankin, the myth, the man, the legend. Fam, thank
I'm
you.
learning to sing.
We're gonna make Wikipedia true.
Yeah, we are. But yeah,
That's on my bucket list. Learn to sing.
oh God, I love
Go
it.
on The Masked Singer. Let's do this.
Oh, the best singer. The guy singing off key. It's got to be Hankin.
He's not close. That's what's going on right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, Larry, thank you. Gemini,
Okay. Goodbye, guys. I got to go.
As always, fam, be good to yourself, be good to everyone else.
Okay, invite me on the green screen anytime. Anytime.
Awesome. And you, family, I love you. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
I'm telling you, man. Ba-da-ba-ba.